Now let's come to the original ticket. This is the original ticket. Johnson Asiedu Katia.
Ebusham for GhanaNsem TV GH. Make sure to like a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that anytime videos of this nature are uploaded, be notified. Ebusham for His Excellency LORDINA Mahama naswayeshi. Naswayeshi yen say ebia Ghana ye business, ye finances in tia na say exchange rate and those things in tia there be. But naswayeshi ni nyina ni say ya say wo ye man peni wo tina akonya nso. Now whilst you are seated still president no nkofo amwo wase no they are already planning for when you will leave power. And that's the unfortunate thing that is happening in the NDC this year. Bekaya, MPP, President Akufo-Addo now power. No? Okay, say he doesn't want the party to have two leaders. It's for that. Because of that, Krana, we delayed in going into our primaries. MPP delayed to go into the primaries. So the prime minister by late 2023 honum. Because President Akufo-Addo didn't want a party to have two leaders at the same time. President Mahama also in NDC, he doesn't want that. He wants to be the leader at all times. Say party in primaries in Pua, Ebia 2027 honum. But nkofo amwo na say Julius Debra mu Atofose mu Okujeto mu omutu nyombi mano say bibi ya ye ntempa time no dey. And that's the song they are singing for John Mahama. See, John Mahama, you have chopped your 2 terms, so you are your second term, a friend of legacy term. Now, I feel and don't mean catch say till 2027 before start making known our intentions. Because sometimes the first person to declare intention also pays an advantage and paves way for himself. Our delegates name. And General Mosquito was started with say on the thank you to one man thank you to I na him say a agenda or because of person be flag bearer. Beyond that, other camps also strategizing. So far, what we are hearing is say ye mami LORDINA Mahama Tunbra Himano or no ni camp no or supporti a friend say Honorable Eric Opoku and the Tunbra Hima LORDINA Mahama or no or supporti Eric Opoku. Eric Opoku a current agric minister. Now, beyond that Eric Opoku ticket, the latest revelation we are hearing now say John Mahama, His Excellency, or no say no OTP Atofose any John Jinapo ticket. Atofose a current minister of finance. Now Atofose no otimi your man penny. But media would the Atofose and to one general must to at least I'll choose Atofose. Because I cannot dream, I cannot even imagine say one day we'll come in Ghana and then we'll make a mistake of electing a General Mosquito to be president. Mosquito, ntuntum, ndebi. And you see one your man Pina say His Excellency Asiedu Nketia, aka General Mosquito. Say, Debbie, NDA, Namen Pengu, NDA, Empire. And we know the president per the report Adomochre exposing Yinano. We know the president most likely is going with Atofose ticket. Now beyond Atofose ticket, no name Openi Julius Debra, aka Julius Keep Fit. They say and him say Julius Debra, they say yeah, who person obi Jim or Ghana, they say friend, special guest, or a babel lifted dumbbell, abe yes exercise kra, awan ni sisi mu nyina, enye easy. When na o mampeni ankofo person omudi nti. Hey Ghana. Person di o mampeni asem. Na emi dey say ni ekoso wo NDC mu nyina no. MPP are looking sharp to fix their date early. So by the time the turbulence will start in NDC, now MPP are done with their primaries and they are done with their reconciliation process and they are hitting full campaign. Now, time no soon, and some mistakes of government, arrogance of power, and all those things start setting in. Now, that is where Ghanaians will start considering an alternative. Now, some alternative, now party MPP And let's see how the game plays out. I will leave you. Peace out. The video is up next.
That the NDC race to replace President Mahama is getting very, very interesting. And I am beginning to pick my favorites as well. The latest ticket, am I going to get it? Put it on. The latest ticket is this one. This is President Mahama's ticket from what we are hearing. Kesela Tuforsen, the finance minister. So when he comes to present the budget next week, 2 weeks from now, watch his body language. He's been told that if he's able to continue to do what he's doing until the end of next year, he will be the anointed inheritance holder of the President Mahama NDC leadership legacy. Who is going to be his running mate? The other favorite of John Dramani Mahama, our good friend John Jinapor, Member of Parliament and Minister for Energy. The two ways that the NDC would like to say they've been doing well in government so far, one of them will be energy and the other will be finance. In finance, there's disputed opinion about recently the government didn't get a threshold on the treasury bill, local treasury bill market, and some opponents of the government were saying there's an indication that there's no confidence, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you say, Atuforsen will tell you that the CD was 17, it is 10, it's a feather in his cap. Atuforsen will tell you that gold reserves have gone here, it's a feather in his cap. Atuforsen will tell you that petroleum prices have been stabilized, it's a feather in his cap. Don't ask him about the price of kenke. Don't ask him about the price of bread. Don't ask him about the price of biscuits. He doesn't know. But he has major macro indicators to point out to you that he's done well. And the analyzing institutions, Fitch and all of these people are giving Ghana B+ and all of that. So yes, Kesela Atuforsen is firmly focused on becoming the leader of the NDC, the presidential candidate of the NDC going forward to the 2028 election. And his running mate is John Abdullahi Jinapor. He's a Christian from Gonja. He's a member of parliament, minister for energy, former deputy minister for energy, now minister for energy, former spokesperson of Vice President John Dramani Mahama. So you know they have an excellent and very close relationship. They call him JJ in parliament, and he's the deal. The two of them are the president's ticket. Forget about everything else. This is the president's ticket. Atuforsen number 1 and John Jinapor number 2. Let's roll on to some of the other new tickets that are coming into the NDC conversation. What's next for us? Let's move on to the next one. No, I know this one. This one people know. Let's move to the next one. I'll come back to this in a minute. Now, I'll still come back to this in a minute. The other one. Yes. This is the other one. So there's a growing conversation among NDC cadres. I don't know where the cadres still stand in the NDC conversation. 25 years ago, the cadres were very strong. But over the last 10 years, I don't know where the cadre thing goes. I mean, many of the cadres have sort of stepped aside. Martin Amidu is a bit old now. He's in his house and he's one of the important cadres. He's not as active as he used to be. But the cadre group who want to resurrect the cadre situation because they believe that the cadre thing is anti-corruption, the cadre thing is a wee-wee situation, the cadre thing is proper socialism, almost communism, and that's the only way the NDC can keep its difference from the MPP. The cadre group are still very concerned that the NDC looks too much like the MPP, and Rawlings used to talk about that if you remember, that the NDC is looking too much like the MPP, that the MPP are a right-wing political party, let them look like how they look like, and the NDC must look very different. NDC should not have the kind of scandals MPP have. If MPP are sharing money somewhere, you shouldn't find NDC people doing the same thing. That group of people who believe that the longevity of the NDC will be preserved by returning to the principles of cadre, probity, accountability, transparency, that group of people are beginning the conversation, what about Guzi Tano? So, now I work for Guzi Tano. I was his publicist in the year 2000 when he did the Reform Party. So I was with him almost on a daily basis, and I was a publicist. What does that mean? So I published their stories. You know, they were a small political party. So I had to take permission from my news editor at Joy FM that I would like to be bringing reform stories. They laughed at me and they said, okay, why not? And so Guzi had 2 offices, one in Asylum Down. Those of you who live in Accra, I can show you the place near Gedeli's office. And there was another one in Ridge, North Ridge, where WellSpace used to be. His brother was MD of WellSpace at the time, so we meet there. And the sheer level of intellectual conversation of these guys, I mean, if you are young as I was at that time, you should consider yourself privileged to be in that kind of conversation. You should hear Guzi having a conversation about governance with Peter Podugbe. Oh my goodness. These guys were smart. I was so excited when I met with them and when I engaged with them, and I was excited about the future of the country. Cheche Opoku is one brilliant guy. Forget about law. Cheche knows everything, not just law. Mijay Bano. I mean, they were really, really solid guys. Sam Gaba was with them. I think the generation is gone. The election 2000 didn't help them. Professor Mills brought them back to the NDC. They played a big role in Professor Mills's victory, and I believe that they have played a big role in President Mahama's victory in 2016 as well. Guzi has to overcome the 24-hour economy situation. We must see the 24-hour economy thrive. I'm not sure whether we're going to see that in the first 4 years of President Mahama's administration. I was listening to Nimoy Thompson on Bernard Avle's show, The Point of View, and he was talking about how 24-hour economy is already captured in the NDPC agenda, etc., etc. Very, very, very interesting interview. I like that interview when I saw it on Monday night, I think. Now, Guzi here is now being pushed to be the NDC flag bearer. And the NDC people are being told that if you really want to go back to be NDC so that you're not like MPP and you're going to be booted out of office one day like the MPP was booted out of office, and you want to continue to do the things MPP did so that you end up the way MPP ended up, then it's up to you. But if you want to come to the principles and the ethos of the National Democratic Congress, your best man is Augustus Tano. So that's a President Mahama is not against the ticket, but it is not his favorite ticket. His favorite ticket will show you what it is. So the Guzi one is coming. We're just building up the story. We'll be giving you the inside details. They called me to tell me, you know, Adam, you there? Then they give me the filler. So, okay. Now, this is the other ticket that we talked about. The Julius Debra ticket has always been there. It's always been there. And it's a formidable ticket. Now, the tickets are gaining support by naming running mates. So if I go back here, you will see that the president's ticket has a running mate already sorted. So it is easier to sell to the party folks when you are saying, this is going as number one, this is his number two. It makes people feel that, oh yeah, that's a good ticket. We like it. It's great. It's, you know, I think that, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but over the last few years of our election cycles, the position of the running mate has become very important. It didn't used to be as important. I mean, in 2000, people have forgotten who was Professor Mills's running mate. It was Martin Amidou. In 2004, people have forgotten who was Professor Mills's running mate. It was Mohamed Mumuni. So the running mate thing was not a big deal. It was the Nana Akufo-Addo choice of Mahamadou Bawumia that brought the running mate thing to the big conversation. If you read our book here, the way in which Kufuor chose his running mate, Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, it was very simple. It was a very simple conversation. Aliyu was set up as a committee chairman to find a running mate for Kufuor. Find, he couldn't find. General Hamidou got his running mate agenda busted on Joy FM by Tony Edu, whose video we showed you recently, and I think I'll get that video for you soon. And so when Hamidou left, Aliyu Mahama was left with a few weeks to get a running mate, you know. And then Kufuor said, what about you, Alhaji? Blah, blah, blah. And then he became. So the running mate was not that detailed, but now it has become very, very important on our tickets. We're almost becoming like the United States. You know, Walter Mondale, how Walter Mondale became running mates to, was it George Bush? It was a very complicated, long, drawn-out conversation in the American Republican Party politics over there. So people are now putting the running mate forward so that you can get a sense of where the ticket is going. So that's the president ticket. Now here, so the Julius Debra people are beginning to craft a running mate for Wafa Julius. And guess what they are talking about? They are talking about Zaneto Rawlings. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. That, no, we are going with Julius, and Julius will pick Zaneto for the running mate. So guys, Charlie, let's come and rally behind this. This is a young ticket. It's vibrant. It's sexy. It's beautiful. And I can assure you, most of the arts and entertainment people who helped the NDC to win the 2024 elections are on this ticket. So talk of Fred Nyama, Kofi Ochedako, all of them, all the musicians, everybody who helped the NDC from the arts and entertainment side, Jifa Danku, blah, blah, blah. Is that her name? Abena Danku or something. Yes, she. All of those people are on the Julius ticket. And all of them are excited about the Dr. Rawlings running mate. That's a sexy ticket. We're going to go on a walk. And we're going to be holding dumbbells. And we're going to sing from victory unto. Everybody's holding a dumbbell. And it's going to be nice. I mean, God give us life over the next 3 years. Ghana is going to be very beautiful. If you're a political reporter, You are in the best business. Okay, my producer wants me to move on. That's why he's put Eric Opoku there. So Eric Opoku has always been the other ticket, okay? Now, Eric Opoku is formidable because he has gravitas. He's on the ground. He has gravitas. He's Minister for Agriculture, so don't write Minister of Agriculture off. Don't write them off. Eric Opoku is formidable to the extent that she has full backing from the First Lady, LORDINA Mahama. This is LORDINA Mahama's ticket. That's Eric Opoku. That's LORDINA's ticket. And LORDINA is happy to back Eric Opoku. They think that he's a calm guy. He doesn't antagonize anybody. He's a real politician. He distinguishes himself as minister. He was a minister for Works and Housing the other time. No issues of corruption. He's a minister who focuses on his work. That's Eric Opoku. So he also is in the race. Now bring Jenan Opoku-Agyeman. Let's deal with it. Okay. Now, the Jenan Opoku-Agyeman ticket it's getting long. I don't know how we'll break it down. Anyway, the Jenan Opoku-Agyeman ticket has an interesting twist to it. It is a ticket that is marshaled by Samuel Ofosu Ampofo. Now, people don't know Samuel Ofosu Ampofo that well. Now, I had studied Samuel Ofosu Ampofo since 1997 when he was a student in Accra Poly. I had friends there, so I'll go there. And I observed the way he was marshalling people to support the NDC ticket. At that time, he was a parliamentary candidate, and he defeated some heavyweights. I think it was Professor Adofenin. Professor Adofenin was the head of history department at the University of Ghana. Powerful guy. And he was running at Fantiakwa for the New Patriotic Party. Fantiakwa is a seat that was held by Jones Oforiatta. Oh, bring back, for example, I'm not done. Fantiakwa was a seat that was held by Jones Oforiatta, a stalwart of the MPP. And then this was Adofeni contesting for Fantiakwa with a young man, Ofosu Ampofo, who defeated Adofeni, and everybody was surprised. So Ofosu Ampofo is a very powerful political actor, but he also understands that you can have enemies in your own party. Why do I say that? I say that because I believe it's 2012, Ofosu Ampofo was contesting parliament, not in Fantiakwa, but in Tema. And he was running against Irene Toshi. Oh my goodness, I wish they had Irene Toshi's photograph. They'll put it on. Irene Toshi is the kind of politician that has support in both NDC and MPP. She's an MPP woman, but she has such massive support in NDC, you can't understand it. Irene Toshi is a real big deal when it comes to grassroots politics. I know her because we lived in the same neighborhood in Sakumon. I visit her all the time, and I see the political operations that she conducts. Never underestimate that lady. Irene Toshi is a powerful political operator. You can think of Irene Toshi as a John Boydo or anything else. Forget about the fact that she's a woman and she's a nice, distinguished lawyer and all of that. When it comes to the grassroots politics, you can't put Irene away. Irene secured some support from important NDC people to defeat Ofosu Ampofo in the Tema constituency in the 2012 election and was elected to parliament. Ofosu Ampofo was not elected to parliament, even though the NDC won the election. Ofosu Ampofo at that time was Minister for Local Government, and he was running as one constituency as Minister for Local Government. Irene Toshi was a young woman coming into politics and defeated him with the support of key NDC people. Some of them are still alive, so I don't want to mention their names. Very, very powerful NDC people supported Irene Toshi to defeat Ofosu Ampofo in 2012 in Tema. I was there. Now, Ofosu Ampofo is coming back to marshal the campaign of Professor Jenan Opoku-Agyeman, and you can't underestimate that. Ofosu Ampofo is also angry. He has a wound. What is the wound? His wound is that the eternal general secretary of the party, his very, very close friend, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, took out a form to challenge him as chairman. Not just challenge him, but Asiedu Nkatia actually defeated him. That's a wound Ofosu Ampofo carries. He carries the political wounds are carried by people for the longest time. I mean, Ronald Reagan and people carry their political wounds for a long time in Ghana. We know the political wounds that people carry. So he carries that political wound, okay. He is determined that Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, having upstaged him as the chairman of the party, should not and should never become the leader of the party. For that reason, Ofosu Ampofo believes that the best choice for leadership is Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. So that is a big deal, and we can't underestimate that. Is that the president's ticket? The president is not against it, but it's okay. It's a political contest, and it's going to happen. The chief of staff is in the office of the president, working for the president and the vice president. He's going to contest. The vice president is going to contest. Guzitano and his group are going to make their statements. I'm not sure whether they're going to make such a major inroad, but they're going to make an important statement. And the president's ticket is now K. Salato Forsen and John Jinapo. Let's come to this other story. There's a big fight between Education Minister Idrisu Haruna and Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. The fight is happening on many grounds, but one of the grounds is that Okudzeto Ablakwa believes that he birthed the vision of Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman as a president, and you can't take that away from him. He was deputy minister to Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman in the first John Mahama incarnation as president. And he worked with Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman quite a bit. And in those days, Ablakwa began to think that this very brilliant woman should actually become president. She should be president. She can be our first female president. So when, and Ablakwa is also a product of the Ahoys, Kwame Na Ato, especially Ato. Ablakwa is a product of Ato Ahoy. I mean, if you read my book, it's there. Babies with Sharp Teeth is there. All the accounts is there. When Ato Ahoy hired them to attack Rawlings, all of that. Ablakwa was a leader in that circumstance. So Ablakwa is a product of the Ahoys. Professor Jane is also a product of the Ahoys. So Ablakwa believes, genuinely believes so, and there are people who think like that. You can't begrudge them for thinking so. He's the former vice chancellor of the University of Cape Coast. Why not president? But no problem. But he's beginning to feel that education minister is not part of this agenda. Then suddenly he's trying to behave like he's taking center stage of it so that he'll become running mate. That and other matters are just generating serious tension between Idrisu Haruna and Okudzeto Ablakwa, foreign affairs minister. The vice president is in the middle. We'll see how that goes. These are just the beginning of the story. So I have the loaded one that is coming. I'll share them with you. It's past 10 o'clock now.
Ansa na no se wo abrochiri anase wo Ghana ha na wo program bi ete se engagement wedding anase funeral na upe obi a obeba betwa video no ede ama anase oba betwa pictures na me kire quality videos anase quality pictures a enfo wani enchirem ewo ba bia se cam hacks na ma no e na eda screen ne so no na djuma ho etwa yi papa Ghana ha ba bia wo bia ofre na obeba abetwa wo program no e de ama anase empo wo ama no ne e na wo hweye e na wo beye program e na wo atoto ania uhu obia obetwa wo program no e de ama wa contact na ma na e da screen ne so no obetwa wadjuma no yopo e de ama chese quality videos na quality pictures party emfa wani enchirem e wo ba bia anase empo ope bibi te se camera light anase drone e de etwa programmer eno so o contact na obeba ababeya ma fe.
Now let's come to the original ticket. This is the original ticket. Johnson Asiedu Katia, still by leaps and bounds, leads the charge. If you do the election today, I think Asiedu Katia will win. If the NDC were to do the election, Asiedu Katia here, there, thank you very much. If the NDC were to do the election today, I think Asiedu Katia will win. You don't have, you have Ato Force in there, okay. So this looks like the cast. Now, Asiedu Katia was thinking about running mate Alban Bagbin. I don't know whether they are still thinking so because some of their insiders tell me that they are being concerned about the age of both men. So don't be surprised if you get a poll coming from Musa Dankwa very soon about the ages of candidates and how that works. So Alban Bagbin was going to partner Asiedu Nketia. Now, why were they preparing this ticket? They were preparing this ticket and they called it the only ticket that survives the corruption tag. Because in Ghana, if you're running for president and you need to deal with corruption, it's a very difficult matter to deal with. Whether it's real, whether it's perceived, once there's a corruption tag on you, it can be problematic in Ghana. Now, they know that. So they are thinking that if you want to have a ticket that can really deliver a victory, then it must be a clean ticket. For it to be clean, you must have two people on the ticket that nobody can raise a corruption issue against. And who are these two? Johnson Asiedu Nketia has never been minister, never been anything, never been anything that is around giving contract or nothing. No, zero. He makes quite a bit of money, but when we're in Sakomono and he moved, they said he built a house in Dodowa that apparently had 13 bedrooms or something like that. I think he still lives there. I don't know. But yeah, so the corruption thing is like that. Somebody may benefit from government largesse, but he's not a minister. He's not a deputy minister. He hasn't given contract. His name will never come up for anything, but they have benefited hugely. It happens like that in politics. Somebody may be a minister that doesn't benefit much, but he gets involved in a contract that he didn't even benefit from, but it becomes a hula baloo and then the corruption tag. So it's always a tag. That may not be real. It may be perceived, but perception is more important in politics than reality, as everyone knows. So this is the ticket they are looking at, but they are thinking that the tickets that, if you are campaigning against them and you say the combined ages of the president and the running mate is 157. Oh, that's some way. That's some way. And then you combine that with Julius Debra Zaneto, who can carry dumbbells and go on a walk. I mean, you're not going. You need to have the oomph about your ticket, the excitement about the ticket. You need to have the sexiness about the